Remember in the movie The Matrix, when Neo makes the shift from seeing solid, real things that impose limitations, like people, walls, buildings, bullets, etc., to suddenly being able to see all of it as just a string of binary code of ones in green light and zeros in black. Remember how after making that shift, Neo is then able to more easily manipulate and redirect the Matrix, and his sense of limitations cease, and he becomes the One. That shift in consciousness is a great metaphor for what is possible when we can masterfully move into the gap. Welcome to this guided meditation for moving into the quantum gap, and we will be working with a very unique and deep method for relaxing your body and mind, melting away stress, bringing you to a point of stillness where you can move into the quantum potential of the gap. What is this gap, and what good does it do us to move into it? The gap has to do with the quantum realm. In fact, it is a reference to what the word quantum really means. That is, the space between allowed expressions of matter, or the time lapse between events. It is the ground state or background upon which all events take place, or the blank canvas upon which all forms take shape. Accessing this gap is an essential key to shifting into quantum consciousness. By focusing on the gap between events, or between thoughts or expressions, rather than on the expressions themselves, we can tap into the vast potential of the quantum realm. What helps is to tune into the background of silence between words, or the canvas of empty space upon which all objects are painted or observed. You can even become aware of the background of pure awareness itself, upon which your thoughts emerge. The expressions, or events, or thoughts are fleeting and transitory, but it is the background of the gaps between that remains. And what you focus on expands, so when you focus on the gap will expand. The more that we can move into that gap, the more potential energy that becomes available to us. Accessing the gap begins with quieting the mind, coming to stillness, centering in the heart, and sinking into at least a theta brainwave rhythm or deeper. All of these steps are facilitated in this guided journey by the use of embedded brainwave entrainment patterns, combined with very soothing sounds at special frequencies to aid your journey and process of accessing the gap. This guided meditation is a multi-sensory experience of soundscape, visualization, and a kinesthetic, feeling-based process that helps you to also rewire your brain for more optimal functioning. At some point during the journey, you will find yourself in the gap, in the space between. And once there, you will experience pure beingness, pure awareness. It is perfectly fine if you find yourself in a void state or a place of no thought, or what some might call blinking out. In this meditation, that is actually a good thing, because it means you are getting into a theta brainwave state, or deeper, and are approaching the gap. Once at that place where the gap becomes more accessible, all that is needed is to let go, to surrender, and move into the silence. In that surrender, there is an experience of infinite expanse. The best way to successfully access the gap is to be fully in the present moment. Doing so helps you also overcome any fear, because fear is a result of projecting attachments from the past onto the future. Fear pulls you out of being in the present. So for the next 30 minutes, give yourself full permission to be here, now, and let go of any other worries or distractions. After you are done with this meditation, it is very likely that you will have a key insight or aha moment to help you deal with those things later. So for now, Just be here, now. The quantum mindset embraces uncertainty and willingly moves into the unknown of the gap, or the nothingness, in order to access all possibilities. By moving into the gap, you can neutralize fears, melt away stress, embrace uncertainty, and access a deep well of vast potential energy and creativity. So now that you have the basics, we are going to begin the meditation experience. Briefly begin this meditative exercise by closing your eyes for a moment and taking a few deep breaths. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, placing the tip of the tongue on the roof of your mouth. Gently bring your awareness to any area of your body that holds tension, and just allow that area to relax by breathing deeply into that part of the body. And as you breathe out, you release this tension. Continue this process of breathing and relaxing the body. And for the next few minutes, just give yourself permission to let go of whatever tension or stress you have been holding on to, or whatever has been distracting your thoughts or consuming your energy. Give yourself permission for the next few minutes to let it all go. Take one more deep breath. Now gently open your eyes. And keeping a soft focus, you're going to find a gap in your environment. You can bring your awareness to the space between two objects. can tune in to the silence between words or sounds. Become aware of the background or canvas upon which all things exist. Look around the room and find two objects in your environment that are in close proximity of one another. Rather than looking at the objects, bring your attention to the space between the objects. Shift your attention from the form-based images to the formless field around and between them. As you focus on the space between things, you are not looking at the objects. Instead, you are bringing your awareness to the space between the objects. Next, bring your attention to the silence between sounds in your environment. Focus on the moments of silence. Let that silence expand in your awareness. Now, pay attention to the pause between the in-breath and the out-breath. As you bring your attention to that pause between the breaths, you might even extend that pause. Surrender into that space between the breath. Next, become aware of the background of stillness between thoughts. It is a background of pure awareness, a space of no thought between thoughts. As you focus on that space of no thought, your awareness of the background expands. Connecting to that stillness and silence. Connecting to the gap. Become aware of the background, the canvas upon which all sensory things exist. Now, choose one visual gap in your environment to focus on again. A space between forms. your focus and attention on that gap expand. Now, become aware of the gap between you and that gap. A point of emptiness in space that lies between you and that gap that you are focusing on. Expand this gap. And now become aware that the gap is right in front of you. When you feel a connection to that gap, you're going to just slightly lean forward into it, gently and slowly. Being in a state of no mind, no thought, let the gap expand. Remember to surrender to the gap. Now, go ahead and pick another gap in space, another space between. Focus on this new gap now. The visual space between forms. The silence between sounds. The pause between your in and out breath. Whatever gap you're focusing on, now find the gap between you and that gap. And now become aware of the gap right in front of your face. An invisible space right in front of your face. When you feel a connection to it, ever so slightly and slowly, lean into it or bring your forehead down onto that space. Notice how it feels to be connected to the gap. And remember this feeling. You may continue this process of connecting to the gap as long as you like. And whenever you are complete, gently focus on your breath again. Feel your body, and then record any impressions or sensations that you have experienced. When you come out of the gap meditation, similar to how you come out of a dream, the more you move, the more you lose the memory of the state. So you want to move minimally while transitioning your consciousness back into an aware state in the body. Maintain and hold a sense of what it is like to be in the gap so that you can remember being in the gap. This will help you more easily reconnect with it again next time. Truly being in the gap is a non-visual, non-auditory experience. It is a simultaneous sense of emptiness, allness, and oneness. The moment you think any thought or are stimulated in some way, you are drawn out of it. Often, you don't even realize you were in the gap until you shift back out of it and wonder where you just were. When it comes to moving into the stillness of the gap, we come to a place where all sense of time and space disappear, moving beyond boundaries and limitations. Connecting with the gap requires a letting go of expectation. We cannot control this process. We can only open up to it and allow. It is a surrendering of the mind and the self into the unknown of the gap, into emptiness. But when you become empty, then you have full room to be filled anew with vast potential energy and creative resource. The experience of expanding and surrendering into the gap is not a one-time experience of transcendence where you are forever more enlightened. Rather, the gap is always here, now, right in front of you and within you. Once the proper pathways have been set through the rewiring process, which we do in this guided meditation, this experience of the gap is one that can be accessed frequently in the space between moments, when we can bring ourselves to inward silence and stillness. You can even be active outwardly to some degree and still access the space inwardly through bringing your mind to be like a quiet pond, and then tuning into your heart in the present moment. Even just a brief connection with the gap taps you into vast potential energy that then flows into your personal consciousness and then into your world as you return back to regular awareness. When you want to flow in this space of the gap longer and deeply train your mind to become the quiet pond, while opening the heart space for a super conscious state of awareness, I recommend you get another one of my albums called Quantum Insight that takes you into a deep journey into the superconscious state. This process of moving into the gap is one that at a very practical level is about harnessing time and space. Accessing the gap first involves carving out the time to do this meditation regularly so that you can get good at it. This starts with focus time, eliminating distractions and learning to harness time more efficiently. Did you know that our brains actually perform worse and we make more mistakes when we try to multitask? This meditation of accessing the gap helps train your mind to focus and quiet down the chatter so that you can think more clearly and efficiently. And from a clear state of mind, you will harness your time more effectively and produce better results. I hope you have enjoyed this meditation of moving into the gap. As you practice this process regularly, you will see how effective it is in your life. When your mind is clear and your body relieved of stress, you will be amazed at what you can accomplish with the rest of your daily flow. The more you use this method, the more results you will experience.